DC Studios just dropped a massive update, and we've got everything that you need to know. From Superman's big test to some very unexpected announcements, but the biggest reveal? James Gunn just confirmed DC is building towards a massive crossover event, just not in the way that you think. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, let's talk about the one thing that could make or break the entire DC universe: Superman. That's right, everybody. Welcome to Movie Mornings, your daily dose of movie news with a cup of coffee. That's right, everybody. Taking a nice sip of white mocha this morning. It's so good. And this cup is wonderful. Did you know you can get it in the shop? It's been like, 75 weeks since we've done this. I'm still making that same joke. Classic Matt. Anyway, these are the 10 biggest takeaways from DC Studios' massive update. Number 1, Superman is the big test for DC Studios. So, James Gunn's Superman isn't just another superhero movie, it's the first film under DC Studios' new direction, and Warner Bros. Discovery is treating it like a make-or-break moment. Gunn made it clear that his Superman isn't a response to any cultural moment, but instead embodies timeless ideals, truth, integrity, and protecting those who need it the most. And Warner Bros. Discovery is going all in. The studio is marketing Superman with the same level of power as Barbie and Wonka, betting that this film can reignite fan interest in DC's cinematic universe. If it soars, Gunn and Safran's vision is locked in, and if it stumbles, let's just say it could get real messy for the rest of the slate. In addition to the big screen debut, Superman will also introduce Krypto the Superdog, who's getting his own series of shorts. We've got these cool little Krypto shorts that are so fun, man. I've been watching all of them, Gunn said. He's a terrible dog. It's for families, and it's just really fun and goofy. It's pretty cool. Safran added, "It's definitely the Krypto you fall in love with in Superman. He's a terrible dog." These guys are ridiculous. Fans can expect 4 seasonal Krypto shorts, with the first dropping in September or October. So interesting that, of course, we knew Superman was going to be kicking off the DC universe, the main primary kickoff point. Obviously, we know that, Creature Commandos came out. That was technically the first, which also continued from the Suicide Squad, which was not the first, even though part of it was. And then, of course, Peacemaker, which references the old DC. I'm not going to get into all the weeds of it, but basically, Superman is the first big to-do of the DCU. And it says make or break. I don't think that if Superman failed miserably, then yeah, maybe. I think at worst it'll be it'll break even. I think that's the worst we can expect from this Superman movie. I think just based off of people's reactions to the trailer, I think fans at the very least are going to be intrigued by this. So I mean, I think at the worst case scenario, it'll make like $400 million or something, which again would probably just be a break even for them. But I mean, I honestly think it'll be great. I mean, I'm a huge Superman fan, so obviously I'm hoping that it does very well. But I would be very shocked if this Superman movie didn't perform at all. Like if it, had a reaction of like The Flash, made sub 100 million. Like that would be a disaster. And I could very well see James Gunn and Peter Safran being fired. I mean, hopefully not, probably not. I don't think that will happen. But I think if that was to happen, Zaslav would fire both of them and sell off the DCU to anyone that would take it. Maybe Universal Studios, maybe Disney just buys it and just owns all the superheroes at that point. I could also see Amazon making a play for it, which I wouldn't like, but also wouldn't necessarily hate. I mean, imagine if the Prime reading would now include all of DC Comics, and they've had a lot of success with The Boys and stuff. So I mean, I could see it. Again, all this is an alternate timeline where Superman fails, and I don't think that's going to happen. Of course, the second piece in that was that Superman's dog, Crypto, the super dog, will be getting a series of shorts. I've seen some people reference this as though it's going to be kind of like the I Am Groot shorts. I think that's probably pretty likely. I think they'll have a little bit more to them than the I Am Groot shorts. I believe they're going to use the same, dog and all of that stuff. Like it's going to be as if it's live action, even though the dog is CG. So I mean, hey, I freaking love this dog already. So I mean, I'm down 190% with seeing as much Crypto as possible. I mean, look at him. Look at how adorable this dog is. He's so cute. Like I love his little. I'm just now seeing like his little collar, like his little tag that he has. Like you can see the little Superman symbol down right underneath his lips. If you're watching the video version of this. Can't wait, man. God, it's gonna be so good. But that is not the end. We've actually got like several more stories, so I'm gonna move on. Next up is number 2. Batman's future is massive and messy. So the Bat is alive and well in DC's plans, but things are all over the place. The Batman Part 2 is still moving forward, but Matt Reeves has yet to turn in a full script. The movie got pushed back to 2027, so that we're in for a long wait. The Brave and the Bold, this is the Batman movie inside the new DCU, featuring Damian Wayne as Robin. Gunn is working closely with the writer, but Andy Muschietti's involvement remains unclear. He'll be the first to see the script, but there's no confirmation he's actively developing it yet. Quick note here, of course, Andy Muschietti, that's the director of The Flash. Say what you will about the movie and the performance and all that stuff. Personally, I liked The Flash. I know I'm an apologist, I guess. I thought it was a fun movie. And I'm not going to open up the can of worms of Ezra Miller and all of that stuff with them. We'll just kind of leave all that at that. I've spoken a lot about it. You can check out our review of The Flash if you want to know where we stand on all of that. Basically, don't be a piece of crap, and also forgiveness. Kind of sums up our thoughts, but yeah, there we go. I'm gonna leave that at that. But say what you will about The Flash, I think that Andy Muschietti could make a very good Batman Brave and the Bold movie. I think Andy Muschietti did a great job of bringing in a lot of heart, a lot of comedy, a lot of family connections to, especially between Barry and his mom. And I thought he did a good job. That was a massive movie, trying to tell a huge story, and I think he told it well. I know that some people have some reservations about using CGI versions of people that are no longer with us. And just a lot of complaints about it, just CGI in general not being great. I don't blame that on Andy Muschietti, but that's just me. I don't know. He's also said some colorful things recently about some people. The reason The Flash failed being because women don't like superhero movies or something. I may be misremembering that, so I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Definitely correct me in the comments. But obviously that's a bunch of crap. So. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but if Andy Muschietti ends up not doing this movie, then it is what it is. I'm sure they'll find someone awesome. I do love this idea though of Batman and Son movie. I think that's a great way to differentiate this Batman from the Robert Pattinson Batman, and so on and so forth. Anyway, also Clayface. This one came out of nowhere, originally not in the DCU's lineup. It fast-tracked into production after Mike Flanagan turned in a killer script that Gunn and Safran couldn't ignore. It's described as full-blown body horror movie, directed by James Watkins, who directed Speak No Evil, with filming set for this summer. So another piece, it's not in here, but that Alan Tudyk will not be reprising the role of Clayface. Sorry, I'm totally blanking on his name. But he won't be playing Clayface, even though he did the voice of Clayface in the Creature Commandos animated series, which is fine. He said that James Gunn said that his main role would be Dr. Phosphorus, since that's like his primary role. So I think, okay, I'm gonna stay top level here. I'm not gonna get super spoilery. So if you've not seen what I'm about to say, it's okay. I'm not gonna give anything away. I'm just gonna say, after watching The Substance, and if you know, you know, I definitely think this movie could be something special. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's what they're gonna aim for. It would be crazy if they did, especially some of the things that happen in that movie. Again, if you know, you know. I think Clayface would match that perfectly. Also, Flanagan just is phenomenal. I mean, Midnight Mass, one of my favorite pieces of media, period. I love that. And of course, The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, all of that stuff. Just absolutely wonderful. Cannot wait to see what he's done with Clayface. Yeah, I can't. I'm very excited for it. I'm glad that, you know, he finished the script and they're like, yes, let's fast track this thing. Like, that just gets me even more excited. So, and the fact that it's a horror, it's a body horror film, like, it's gonna be crazy. I don't know. Okay, I gotta stop geeking out. I'm very excited for Clayface because I have no idea what that movie's gonna be, but everything about it sounds wonderful. So anyway, number 3, The Authority, Swamp Thing, and Booster Gold are all on hold. Some projects that were originally hyped up in the DC Studios 2023 slate reveal are now on ice. The Authority, it was supposed to follow Superman, but some of its ideas are clashing with elements in the fast-tracked films. The script has also been a struggle, so it's been pushed to the back burner. I remember first hearing about this, and we were all kind of like, really? The Authority? That's an interesting choice. But now, apparently, some of the other movies that have been fast-tracked are kind of stepping on some of those toes that The Authority was gonna fill. But again, you know, James Gunn, I really appreciate these people, James Gunn and Peter Safran, being open to saying, hey, we thought we were gonna do this, and it turns out we're not. We're gonna push forward with something else. And I respect that. You know, they want to tell the best stories instead of just sticking to, you know, their original idea. I love that they're open to that. That makes me very, very happy. Next up was Swamp Thing. James Mangold is still attached, but because he's been busy with Bob Dylan's biopic, A Complete Unknown movie, which was really good, by the way. Timothée Chalamet did a really good job. But until that's done, Swamp Thing is stuck in limbo. Of course, that movie's out. It's now on award seasons. So probably this will start getting picked up, but again, there's not been any current progress made. But I mean, James Mangold, I mean, come on, Swamp Thing, it's like a match made in heaven, for real. Also was Booster Gold. They originally had a showrunner in place, but that showrunner has dropped out, forcing Gunn and Safran to rethink how to approach the project. I love Booster Gold. It's on hold, so I'm not going to tarry too long with the Booster Gold thoughts, but I think at some point we'll get him. I think a TV show would be interesting way to do it, do kind of like Quantum Leap, but he's traveling through different important points in the DC universe to make sure they go correctly, or that he fixes them. There was one story in a Booster Gold comic where because somebody had traveled back in time and killed, I want to say they killed Hal Jordan, and it was going to pick Guy Gardner to be the Green Lantern, or like they made Hal Jordan be like somewhere else or something. I don't know. But Guy Gardner got picked instead of Hal Jordan, which then caused a whole bunch of other crap to go way wrong in the future, like, you know, during like the death of Superman and all that bunch of stuff. Anyway, stuff like that, I think, would be a really, really cool way to experience the history of the current DCU while also screwing with it a little bit. I think that'd be a lot of fun. That's just me. Maybe that's way too big of an idea. I don't know. Side tangent here. I once did a fan film, of Superboy and Crypto, and my brother Billy was a part of it. Hello, Billy. And the whole thing was like Booster Gold, and it was about Y2K. Don't worry, none of that matters. But where he was going to go to next was to make sure somebody had stopped the Waynes from being murdered, and which then of course caused Bruce Wayne to not be Batman. And so Booster Gold had to go back and make sure that they did get murdered. It was a very dark idea. We didn't actually show it. That was just a tease for where Booster was going to next after the video you was watching. And so, I mean, I feel like stuff like that would be just a great way. Again, you're with Booster, who's silly, and so like on the inside he's like super depressed and stuff because he has to make sure horrible things happen, and he also has to make sure good things also happen, and it's that inside of the DCU. I mean, it's a wonderful idea. Sorry, I know I said I wasn't going to spend a long time on it, and here we are on like the 3rd minute of me talking about Booster Gold. Anyway, number 4. Peacemaker marches on, but Waller hits a wall. But oh wait, I got that. Nailed it. Nailed the joke. All right, DC's TV slate is getting some traction, but Waller, the Peacemaker spinoff starring Viola Davis, has been a development nightmare. The original plan was to launch Waller first, then do Peacemaker season 2, but things didn't go as planned. The show has had trouble locking in the right script, with Gunn calling the development a, quote, bumpy road. Peacemaker Season 2, on the other hand, is locked and loaded, and it's premiering this August on Max, so just a month after Superman drops. We're going to get Peacemaker Season 2, which I can't wait. Peacemaker is fantastic, and I love Season 1. Cannot wait to see Season 2. I watched a TikTok recently. Somebody was quoting Vigilante. They were doing like the mouth sync or whatever, and it was fantastic. I'd completely forgotten Vigilante said the things he says to this group of guys in prison, and it was fantastic, and I just can't wait to see what happens next. I can't wait. Love this show. Also, meanwhile, Lanterns, the HBO series starring Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, has officially started filming in Los Angeles. Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan. Totally blanking on the guy's name that's playing Jon Stewart. But I'm sold. I love Green Lantern. I've gushed about it before, so I'm not going to gush anymore here. But yeah, Green Lantern. It's going to be awesome. Number 5, the Penguin's future is uncertain. While the Penguin is winning awards and proving the Batman's world is still very relevant, a second season is not guaranteed. Colin Farrell is getting tons of praise for his transformation, but the heavy prosthetics might be too much for him to commit to multiple seasons. Safran bluntly said, "We don't know. There are a lot of moving pieces, probably most importantly, Colin himself." Did we ever finish? I like how I'm asking, like, as if Maggie's here. Maggie is not with me at this moment. She's asleep. I don't think we ever finished the Penguin season 1. Now that I'm thinking back to it, I think we got like 2 episodes in. I've heard it's great. I mean, obviously he's winning awards and stuff. We really need to finish that. And like, we're trying to finish Daredevil season 3 before Born Again comes out, which is next week. And like, we've got like the entire season 3 to watch. It's just, we're behind. We're behind, guys. But yeah, I definitely want to watch The Penguin. I've heard it's nothing but great. Yeah, that's it. End of thought. Number 6, DC's big animation push. So DC Studios is putting a serious energy into animation, and we've got a couple of stories about that. So first up is Dynamic Duo, a family-friendly movie that is Batman focused, that will be starring the first 2 Robins, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. I love the fact that it is a family focused feature animated film. I think that is a perfect way to go. I think you could have it be somewhat family friendly, sure, but I don't think that implies like a Teen Titans Go, or even like Super Pets. I think honestly you could look at like Across the Spider-Verse. I think that's more, in my opinion, more of the direction they may be going. I mean, Nightwing and Red Hood, it'd be hard to do just like, unless they go like stupid silly with it. I feel like you could have a much better story, and I think they could totally do it with going for like an Into the Spider-Verse type situation, where it's like, yes, kids can watch it, but it's also, you know, it has enough levity to it that it's you know, awesome. So also they announced 3 new shows, which I'm very, very excited for. The first one is My Adventures with Green Lantern, and I am stupid excited because I love My Adventures with Superman. It is maybe one of the best depictions of Superman of the past like 10, 15 years. It is just quintessential Superman. He is positive and nerdy and perfect and funny and goofy and just everything I love about Superman. Hopelessly optimistic, and it's great. And the fact that we're getting a spin-off series about Green Lantern, again, I'm a huge Green Lantern fan, so this just makes me insanely excited. That said, the breakdown is not exactly what I was expecting. So they have just a quick breakdown about it. And basically, My Adventures with Green Lantern will be about high schooler Jessica Cruz when she gets chosen by a mysterious Green Lantern ring, just as alien threats from an ancient space war arrive on Earth. I don't know if this is going to connect to My Adventures with Superman. It could, especially if you think about like what happened with like things. I'm not going to say it. I almost said it. I'm not going to say it. Just in case you've not watched My Adventures with Superman. But some of the stuff in season 2, they talk about like historical things that have happened in space. So it's possible that maybe those things that happen could also be what caused some of this to happen. I don't know. Interesting choice though that they're going Jessica Cruz. Like, I'll be honest, when I first read about Jessica Cruz, it was during the Forever Evil, I think is what it's called, after the Trinity War of the New 52. So I mean, this has been years ago, but like when the way I read it, she was chosen by the Earth 3 Green Lantern ring, which was like the opposite, which was like if you have a lot of fear, then you get chosen. It was Power Ring. It wasn't even Green Lantern. It was a Power Ring. But I know since then she's become a Green Lantern. So I don't know. I don't know if they've cleaned that up to where she was just chosen as a Green Lantern, or if the Power Ring stuff still is part of her history. I have no idea. But anyway, it's interesting. I think it'll be cool having like a female lead Green Lantern, especially since we have the other Lanterns show live action going on at the same time. I think it's, you know, that's a totally interesting, fresh look at it, a way to tell a Green Lantern story for sure. And I mean, that art style is going to be sick. I just, again, love My Adventures with Superman. Cannot suggest watching it more. All of it's on HBO Max. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's just wonderful. Also, DC Superpowers was announced. This is set at the Alliance School for Heroes, where young students Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, Aqua Girl, Green Lantern, and Terra train under Principal Martian Manhunter. When I was first reading this, I kind of got some Young Justice vibes, but I don't think that's the era, like the style that they're going to go for. Especially looking at the title card treatment, it just looks a bit more colorful, a little bit more bright than Young Justice. Interesting the people that they're getting. Aqua Girl, Green Lantern, Terra being the character on there. I know Maggie's gonna be very excited about that. She loves Terra. Lightning, and I wonder what Flash it's gonna be. Like, I wonder if we're gonna go like Bart, if we're gonna go Wally. I feel like if you go Wally, then you're definitely getting pretty close to some Young Justice territory. It's interesting. I'm very curious to see what this turns out to be, or if it's like a spinoff of Superhero Girls. So if maybe those characters pop up, if like they're going to the school or whatever. I don't know. Also, we got the announcement of Starfire, a space adventure series where Starfire escapes Tamaran and explores the galaxy with Crush, a space biker, Fern, a plant-loving hero, and Princess Amethyst, a magical royal. Together, they'll save space dolphins, surf technicolor nebulas, and uncover deep cosmic mysteries. Obviously, it feels like this will be inspired at least by Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, if not just a straight up prequel to her character. It's supposed to be her origin, so I don't know if it's supposed to be the exact same Starfire from Teen Titans Go, or if it's going to be just a standalone Starfire series. Either way, I mean, I definitely think it's going to take some inspiration from that, just based off of the breakdown here with space dolphins surfing technicolor nebulas like that. There's two versions of Starfire. There's the one that's Teen Titans Go, and then there's the one that's like, how can I keep this non-explicit? Physical. There's a Starfire that's very physical. I'll just leave it at that. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, you probably don't want to Google it, because you might see some things you don't. I mean, hey, you might see some things you want to see. I mean, I don't know.
Boink.
Moving on. We also got the announcement of a Blue Beetle animated series that's in the works that will continue the story from the 2023 film. It doesn't have it broke down in here, but apparently the director of that movie is going to be a producer. I don't know if that means that we will no longer get this Blue Beetle character in the DCU. If the animated show is going to be how they handle continuing those stories, or if it's just going to be kind of like connected but not really connected. Like if Blue Beetle could still pop up in like the Teen Titans movie or something. I don't know. But I will say I love Blue Beetle. I think the Blue Beetle movie was awesome. Sure, it had some rough edges, but I thought the lead, Mariduena, Yolo Mariduena, I think is how you pronounce his name. So sorry, but he's awesome. The Blue Beetle outfit looked sick. He looked like Kamen Rider. Yeah, it was great. It was funny. The family was great in it. I really, really loved the Blue Beetle movie. So I'm glad we're at least getting something with these characters. But of course, I would much prefer a sequel, or incorporate him into the Teen Titans in some way. I think either way would be awesome. He did such a great job. Absolutely loved it. Moving on, number 7, DC's gaming plans are getting serious. So Gunn and Safran aren't just letting Warner Brothers handle video games on their own. They're directly shaping game stories to connect with the broader DCU. Working closely with Rocksteady, the Arkham series creators, and NetherRealm, the Mortal Kombat series, the first official DCU game won't be ready for years, but they're actively developing multiple projects. And they were also asked about a DC competitor to Marvel Rivals, which they said that they are open to. If you've seen recently in the news, there's been lots of talk about Marvel Rivals, which is kind of like Overwatch. And if I'm saying a lot of things you don't know, don't worry about it. But basically, it's like 2 sets of teams of heroes fight against each other for like so many minutes or whatever. And they all have different powers, and like some people will heal, and some people, are quicker, and some are slower, but they do more damage, so on and so forth. It's a huge success. And so they're saying that a DC competitor to Marvel Rivals, that they would be open to that, which is interesting. And then, of course, if you're watching the video version, then you'll see an image from Fortnite featuring Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. And they were happy to tell us that a Superman Fortnite crossover will be happening in July to coincide with the new movie. So I'm obviously very excited. I love Fortnite. I know it's ridiculous. Here's the thing, okay? I'm going to let you in a little something. I'm really into Lego Fortnite right now. You guys, like stupid amount. I want to make my village as good as it can be. And like, I just built the Daily Bugle next to the Durburger, and like, it makes my life very happy, And like, I play as Captain America, which is great because I'm just running around using a pickaxe and like fighting, like skeleton hot dogs. It's wonderful. It's a great game. And I can't wait for Superman to cross over with it. Will I get a crypto back bling? I better. That's it. All right, next up at number 8, Gunn and Safran's no Greenlight without a script roll. So unlike Marvel, DC is not announcing movies before they're fully written. Gunn's stance is as follows, quote, "It is hard enough making a good movie with a good script. It's almost impossible making a movie with a script that you're writing on the run," unquote. So that's why Clayface got fast-tracked thanks to Flanagan's script, while The Authority is sitting on the shelf. Again, kind of mentioned this at the top, very thankful of them being open to moving around the pieces and making the best movies they can, instead of being just kind of stuck in their vision from the get-go without being willing to bend and move as things change. I think a perfect example of that is How I Met Your Mother. It was a great show, and then it felt like, they had an ending in mind in season 2, and then after that, they kind of let the characters grow and evolve into the characters they became by the end of the series 7 years later. And by the time they reached the end, they really had went pretty far away, I feel, from the original goal of the show, the original ending that they had in mind. And instead of, trusting where the characters had taken them, they just pulled the rug out and went back to what that ending in season 2 was. And, that was a huge letdown. Instead of letting the characters speak for themselves, they kind of just stayed foolhardy and stayed where they imagined it should end, 7 years ago. And so that left a bad taste in my mouth, obviously, if you can't tell. But I think that Peter Safran and James Gunn being willing to be fluid like that, to say, hey, we wanted to do an Authority movie, just isn't working right now. So instead of forcing it, we're going to move ahead with these other movies. And, maybe, when the story's right, the story will tell us when it's right instead of trying to force it. And I think that's a great idea. I feel like Marvel could have learned that a couple of times. I think they've done a pretty wonderful job most of the time. But, stuff like Black Widow, just, it was a great movie that would have been a great movie to come out before Infinity War. Like, by the time we got it after Endgame, it just felt kind of pointless, Like, it's not set far enough back that we learned something a whole, like a lot newer. But it's not impactful enough to change what we just watched. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I feel like had it released, a couple of years, even if it released between Infinity War and Endgame, I feel like it still would have been a better watch. Just, I don't know. Again, that's, I'm glad that Peter Safran and James Gunn, that they're open to changing things on the fly as they need to. I think that's great. Number 9, DC is building towards a massive crossover event, but not in the way you think. So this one got me very excited. Gunn confirmed that they are building towards a major Avengers Endgame style event. He did not use Avengers Endgame phrasing, but just so everybody knows, didn't want you to think that he was saying it was going to be like Avengers Endgame. That's just kind of the reporting that was brought out. Anyway, an event over the next 6 years, but unlike the MCU, each movie and show is meant to stand on its own, so audiences don't have to watch everything to enjoy individual projects. Gunn explained it like this, quote, "It isn't like they're chapters of an overall story. They're characters that are part of an overall story." I love this distinction between characters and chapters. I think that's a great way to look at this. Like, sure, it'd be great if you watch all of them. You're going to really understand these characters and, you're going to get much more out of that. But if you don't, you're going to enjoy, watching this movie because this character fits into this movie just on its own instead of because of what happened in previous movies. I think that'll be great. So while everything is connected, the focus is on telling strong individual stories first and not forcing everything into one giant roadmap. Vis-a-vis The Authority being delayed, Booster Gold being, on the back burner, so on and so forth. I mean, heck, if Clayface is huge, they may make him a part of like Justice League. I'm joking. That's not gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, I assumed that they were gonna do a big crossover. I'd hoped anyway. But I'll be honest, I figured it'd be much later down the road. I did not think this would be something we would see quickly. Just James Gunn seems to really be focused on story. And like, I felt a Justice League movie would happen when he felt it should happen, and not just to hit some sort of, date. But the fact that he thinks it can happen within 6 years, that just makes me super amped. I don't know. Will it be a Crisis type movie? Will it be a Justice League type movie? Will it be, something smaller? Will it be like a Batman and Superman movie? I don't know, but I am very excited to see whatever this first crossover event is going to be. I think that'll be awesome. I would love, if I'm being honest, I would love for it to not be a Justice League movie. I don't know. I would prefer it be like a DC event movie, if that makes sense. Like, I don't necessarily think you got to do like a Crisis on Infinite Earths. I feel like that's way too much, way too quick. But I would love like even Identity Crisis, like a story that's much smaller stakes, but incorporates all of the DCU. I feel like something like that could be very interesting. Or even like, again, I don't think they should do this storyline, but like Funeral for a Friend. That's where Superman dies, and then it's how all of the DCU reacts to that. Something again like that. Not necessarily Justice League focused, but involves everybody that's in the DCU. I feel like that would be great. I feel like if you're just forming the Justice League together, yeah, I'm going to watch it, of course, obviously, and it'll probably be good. But I don't need to see another team up movie that soon. I would much rather it be an ensemble cast telling a story. Like, I feel like Endgame, not because of the epicness at the end, but just how they balance all of those characters. And, you have Rocket and Nebula in there, which doesn't, you wouldn't necessarily think, oh, of the Guardians, those are the two we want to use. But they worked so well for the story that they were trying to tell. And I feel like that, separates it from being like an Avengers movie, whereas it's a Marvel Universe movie. If that makes sense. I feel like I maybe didn't tell that the best way I could. But that's what I want from the DCU. I would love to get just a big movie with a bunch of characters, but not necessarily just Justice League. In fact, I would love to get a Justice League international movie with these international characters that we're going to see in the Superman movie, Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, those types of people, Mr. Terrific. I would love to see like that movie, Justice League International, prior to, this DC crossover event. I think that'd be great. And like, that's your Justice League, and like, even if they never even called the Justice League, like I'm totally fine with that. Like, it doesn't matter, Anyway, finally, everybody, of course, number 9, that was the big one. But number 10, DC has a plan, but it's still a long road ahead. So wrapping things up here, DC Studios isn't the Wild West anymore. It's a focused, streamlined machine. They've greenlit 5 films, 3 live-action shows, and 5 animated series, but challenges remain on some projects. The Batman Part 2, Booster Gold, The Authority are still up in the air, and DC hasn't won over everyone just yet. With Superman as the first big test, all eyes are on Gunn and Safran to prove that this time DC has finally figured it out. So, that's the future of DC Studios. Superman's make or break moment, Batman's tangled web, horror villains getting their own movies, and yes, DC is building towards a massive crossover. But what do you think? Does this 6-year plan get you hyped, or are you waiting to see if Superman actually delivers? I want you to let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're most excited about. Of the projects that was announced, put it in the comments. I need to know. And also, while you're there, hit that like button. That actually helps us so much, way more than even hitting subscribe, actually. So if you'll do me a favor, hit the like button. That tells YouTube to share this with more awesome people like yourself. So I would greatly appreciate that. But everyone, that is going to wrap it up for us today. We will be back again for another edition of Movie Mornings. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a hopefully awesome day. Good